Ladies and gentlemen, toasters, helicopters, and squirrels, welcome back to another Timoredbeard video. Here we are with some talking Tarkov. Today, we've got a few little bits to talk about. A few things that have been on my mind recently that I want to discuss and get out there and get some feedback on. So anyway, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button, consider subscribing, and don't forget to press that notification bell. Let's jump into it. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the player divide. And what I mean by the player divide is I mean that the player base is currently very, very heavily split into those that seek PvP and action and get annoyed at slow players and rats, as the word goes, and those who want to survive, who want to get their loot, who want to complete their quests, and who want to use every advantage they can to win Tarkov. This player divide has been growing more and more sharp, and what I mean by that is that the line between these two groups of players is becoming less and less blurred and becoming far more disparate. And I don't think it's healthy. I personally don't think it's healthy. And I will be entirely honest with you guys, completely honest with you guys. I kind of fall into the PvP group that gets annoyed at the rats, the people that hide, the people that sit in bushes, and camp bodies. But I've been trying to keep my mind open, try and sit on that line to, help blur it a little bit. Or at least that's what I want to do. And that's because I understand. Those of you that have followed me on my Tarkov journey since I started streaming 10 months back, you all know that my playstyle in those 10 months has drastically changed. And that is very heavily due to the fact that I have pretty much solidly played Tarkov for 10 months straight. Putting in maybe 35, 40 hours a week of Tarkov for 10 months. And so whenever you put that much effort into anything, you have to work quite hard to keep it fresh, to keep it interesting, and to keep the content flowing. And to keep the interest flowing. Now, when I first started streaming Tarkov, I had thousands of hours in Tarkov before I even started streaming it. But the way that I played Tarkov back before I started streaming it was not aggressively. I wasn't seeking PvP. I wasn't being a Chad. I wasn't seeking combat. What I was instead doing was trying to quest, trying to make money, trying to keep my survival rate up. And so I understand that side of the player base. Now, yes, in my current, stage of being a Tarkov player, I'm very much on the other side now. 9 times out of 10, you'll tune into my stream and I will be sprinting to resort, trying to find the PvP. I'll spawn west side. I'll ignore west side. I'll sprint straight over to east and try to intercept all of the players that are running for the lead X's, trying to take control of east and stuff. I just want that fight. I want the PvP. And that in itself is unhealthy. That in itself is unhealthy because Tarkov is not Call of Duty. And to be honest with you, and this isn't exactly how I didn't expect to talk about this during this video, but it's about the pressure. And I believe it's fake pressure. I believe it's pressure that I'm putting on myself as a streamer to play this way. And what I mean by that is that I feel like if I play slower, if I you know, don't go hard and slay out and make these crazy cool plays and do all these insane things like jumping off balconies and headshotting people on my way down and stuff, that people just won't watch my stream. And I know I know deep down that that's not true. I know deep down that that's not true, because otherwise people wouldn't have watched my stream for the first sort of like 4 or 5 months that I streamed, right? But as I've improved at the game and as I've developed further in the game, I've also developed this mentality that if I'm not going full speed ahead smashing W, then I'm not a good player or I'm not worth watching. And this is toxic. This is not healthy. So to get back into it, because I'm just chatting about random shit now. But to get back into it, this divide between players is unhealthy, because it's creating this toxic divide. And this divide was all well and good back when General Sam introduced rats and chads, and you know, it was all well and good when people started identifying with one or the other, or even when 30x came out with the honey badger and people wanted to identify with that. You know, it was all well and good, but as this wipe has progressed, it's one of the longest wipes we've ever had, and it's showing that it is. This divide is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and something needs to change. Something needs to change, because neither side are really playing Tarkov how it's meant to be played. Tarkov is not meant to be played like COD. Tarkov is also not meant to be Hunting Simulator 2017. We need to find a solution to both of these problems. You know, there's the problem of someone spawning in, running to their favorite bush, and then sitting in that bush for 40 minutes. Which seems to be happening a hell of a lot, at least in my experience. And also the people that abuse movement mechanics and abuse the skill levels in their game, right? You know, I've got crazy high recoil control plus a crazy high assault rifle skill. I've got, you know, crazy high endurance and health and maxed out elite skills and all this sort of thing. So I know that I can just do dumb shit and still win. You've got these two opposites, right? You've got these guys that will get in and they will sit in a bush the entire raid, and it's crazy. But there are guys that will sit there with a meta HK with 995 in the mags and sit there in a bush and camp like the entire raid. Which baffles me. But then you've also got these guys that are crazily high skill leveled characters that are suddenly don't have all the drawbacks that Tarkov introduces to the FPS genre. They just have all the positives. And to them, it's just like playing COD with more ammo types and looting. So how do we create this balance? And unfortunately, one of the things that probably required to create this balance is to adjust the way the skill cap is met. So currently, people meet the skill cap by just playing a lot. Just put a load of hours into the game, get your skills up nice and high, and they will carry you through. And because we've had such a long wipe, this has become even more apparent, because so much more of the player base has reached this high skill level to where you know, Resort can sometimes feel like a Call of Duty map. Not even joking. It can. Resort, you get the right people spawning in at the same time. You go to East Wing and there's 12 people on East Wing who are all just sprinting around, hit like, you know, point firing around corners, pre-firing everything, just just never stop moving. They don't even need to stop moving to shoot, because their skills are so high that they can still be accurate while they're like coming out of a full sprint and continuing to strafe. So I think solution number one into blurring the line again is to bring down the strength of highly leveled skills. Now, I completely understand, before I get comments about this, that this is the beta version, and in the beta version, the skills level way faster than they will on full release. I get that. Completely get that. But that won't change the fact that on full release, maybe 7-8 months down the line, maybe 12 months down the line, people will still have elite skills and they will still turn the game into playing COD. So something needs to be done in the balance of maybe the elite skills, maybe how effective skills are. And I know that this has been done already. I trust me, I remember a few years ago what strength was like when you got it maxed. Some of the jumps that you could make then, some of the things that you could do. Yeah. But something still needs to be, it needs to be further toned down. Especially, I think, recoil control. Now, for the longest time, I was a defender of the skills system and that recoil control and stuff like that. It's an RPG, you know, being able to level up your skills, etc. was good. Since then, or very recently, I have decided, or I've changed my mind and realized that this skill, this what's the, you know, like the way that you level recoil control, I think it should be removed in favor of manual recoil control, player-based recoil control. You know, think, you know, CSGO, think recoil patterns and dragging your mouse in specific ways. Ways to make the personal skill cap be more about you as a player and less about your character and his skills. Now don't get me wrong, I don't want all the skills to be removed, because I frankly find them a very enjoyable part of Tarkov. But there are some skills that definitely need to be adjusted. Now, obviously, we're in a point right now where momentum isn't a thing, right? PMCs can turn on a dime, they can strafe back and forth really easily. And I've spoken about this in my meta video as well, but that obviously will change when momentum gets brought in and suddenly you can't turn on a dime, you have to commit to your movements, and that's gonna change up a lot of things. But I don't know if it'll be enough. I feel like there should be a further debuff or further nerf to accuracy when you're moving. There should be, you know, just more balance in terms of your guys are PMCs. Yes, PMCs are incredible people. PMCs are not superheroes. They don't have superpowers. And sometimes it feels like some of the PMCs, once they get their skills high enough, are superheroes in the way that they function, you know. So that, yeah. On the flip side though, I've been talking about counterplay to bushes on my stream recently, because bushes are an interesting thing. People can clamber inside them and become practically invisible to you, and they will camp bodies. For instance, I was on Shoreline the other day, and I jumped up onto the roof and I shot a guy who was out by the chopper, just on the outside fence side of the chopper, and I saw he had a buddy running around in the trees. So I waited and he didn't move. He didn't make any moves. I kept moving around on the roof trying to get an angle on him. Couldn't find him whatsoever. So eventually I pushed down there, and I see the guy's body, and I'm like, there's no way in hell that I'm going anywhere near that body right now. I need to find this other guy before I do anything, right? So I start running around the area, clearing every bush I can, but obviously there are so many bushes that it's almost impossible to clear them all. So after I've done like 2 full circuits of the area around this guy's body, I can't see any sign of the guy. I'm starting to maybe believe that he's just run away. I finally start to move back towards the body, and then what do I hear? Oh, there's a guy inside a bush. The teammate had been hidden prone inside a bush. One of the few that I maybe missed or forgot to clear or whatever. And, oh look, I'm dead. In real life, not that I'm saying that Tarkov should be exactly like real life, but in real life, a human being, especially a human being with a big gun and a backpack and an armored rig, can't just crawl inside a bush, make a weensy little bit of noise, and then there be no evidence of him whatsoever. It just doesn't work like that. The bush would heavily deform. Bushes aren't like these like remember, and the metal that remembers where it was, right? So you can bend it all out of place and then it just springs back to where it was, They're not like that. They're wood, they're branches and stuff that snap, especially when a human's weight is pushing its way inside the bush. Like there should be evidence that someone has either gone into the bush or evidence that someone is inside the bush currently, The bush should look different. There should be some indication that, on close inspection, not so obvious that you just scan very quickly across your eyes and you see, oh, that bush has a massive V shape in it. There's definitely a guy in there, right? Even though that might actually be the more realistic option. But just make it so that if you look at a bush with at least a little bit of focus, you can tell between whether it's been tampered with or whether it's fresh, And this would massively help this problem that we have in Tarkov, where you run up against a duo in any part of a map that has bushes, you kill one of them, the other one immediately goes and hides and holds the body. They will sit there for 30 minutes, 40 minutes and just hold the body. They don't care. They don't have an audience watching them. They just, all their job is at that point in time is to kill you and protect your friend's gear or their friend's gear. That's literally all their job is. So that's what they do. They get in a bush, they hide, they wait, and that's toxic. It's unhealthy. It's not good for Tarkov, I believe. So yeah, like I said, I think honestly, I've rambled a lot in this video, and I do apologize for that. But if I were to say the 2 things that I think need to happen to blur that player divide line, and to bring play back in from both sides back to where the Tarkov is sort of meant to be played, then I think we need to remove the drastic recoil control skills and bring it back to a manual user-based recoil control system. Maybe nerf some of the elite skills and the progression that skills give. Bring them down to smaller percentiles, smaller numbers, and then also, yeah, make bushes like evidence, like have evidence that they've been tampered with, that there's someone inside them, etc, etc, etc. I think those 2 changes could bring the player divide back down to a more blurred line, a Venn diagram with overlap, rather than 2 separate, completely separate playfields, with like a void in between, Anyway, I've been Timoredbeard. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope some of the stuff that I've said has resonated with you. I do stream on Twitch Tuesday to Saturday starting at 12 PM GMT. The link will be in description below. I'm also working on a huge cinematic project at the moment called Going Dark. if you haven't seen the trailer already, do go check it out. It's on my channel. And if you do want to give any sort of support to this project, please do go check out my Patreon at patreon.com/Timoredbeard. But otherwise, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you've liked this video, please do hit that like button. Consider subscribing, and don't forget to press that notification bell. Take care. Have a good one.